Hello, how are y'all doing? I hope you're having a great day. Church time.
Intro?
I'm here with my April book wrap-up. It's actually the second video about books that I did this month. The previous one will be linked here. So let me just jump straight into it. The first book that I almost read was Beard in Mind by Reid. I only read about a third of the book because I have arrived at the conclusion that I just do not like Reid's writing. And it comes down to several things. First of all, I just don't vibe with the characters. The girls are meh, the guys are eh, and the plots also are just decent, and there's nothing that really grabs my attention. But what I dislike the most is I have noticed there is this trope where romance book authors, because it's a romance of course, romance book authors tend to write series which, for example, center a certain family. So you get a family where there are like 12 siblings and each of them get a book, right? Or there are some that are set in a specific town and all the people who work in a hospital get their own story. Or I read one book in a series where there was a town which was famous for being a destination retired Marines moved to, for their retirement. So Penny Reid has this formula that clearly works for her. Her books are wildly popular, where she, by the way, I do appreciate my makeup, thank you, where she does a punny title and then the rest of the books in the series follow this theme of titles. And she does have a place or a family beard in mind. There's also, like, I think cross beard science. I don't know, there isn't a bearded lady for whatever reason, though they do have a sister. Follows a gang of brothers. There's like 5 of them. And of course, every single one is completely different, but they all have beards, and that's the theme of the book. Yeah, I don't know.
So the Beard series themes are small town and a gang of sexy brothers. There's another series called Knitting in the City. It's 10 books, which have a premise of a dangerous guy falling in love with a lady who is a member of this knitting circle in a big city. I love knitting, but the books sucked. Yeah.
I won't re-rate it on Goodreads because I didn't finish, but the half that I read, it's like 2 out of 5 stars because it's not bad enough for 1, and that's my justification for 2 stars. The second book that I read was Satisfaction Guaranteed by Lauren Blakely. I would give this book 2 stars as well. I listened to it on audiobook and I finished the whole thing. And let me put it that way. The book is about a vet and an animal rescue worker who get together. The plot is very contrived because, essentially it's an idiot plot. If they had a conversation with every important party involved, then that book wouldn't have happened. And the second thing that I didn't like is that the girl has a certain issue in the bedroom. Let's put it like that. And she's been struggling with it her whole life. So she doesn't, she doesn't get therapy, or she doesn't go to the doctors, or she doesn't read books about it. Her vet lover reads up on it and magically solves, while not being a woman or a specialist of any kind, magically solves her issues. I don't like that. And also, every cat in this book is called a pussycat. Also, this book's epilogue is like an hour and a half long. An hour and a half long. Because first you get, like a couple of months into the future. Then you get even more into the future. Then you get a teaser of a different couple mentioned in this book, because this series is like the previous one. It follows a group of friends. I don't like it. Stick to one couple. Never mind. And the last bit is kind of like an impromptu concert, because the vet is also a great musician, supposedly. He's just an okay singer. He's, his voice is good enough. He clearly knows what he's doing, but it's not very special. But still, he does a performance, and we bear witness to it for like half an hour by the end of the book. I didn't appreciate it. I'm sorry, narrator, male narrator. I don't know. And this book also gets 2 out of 5 stars. The third thing that I listened to was The Sandman by Dirk Maggs and Neil Gaiman. The audiobook consists of episodes, and each episode is a story from the graphic novel. I've read about 80% of said graphic novels before listening to the audiobook. And I have to say that the stories don't really benefit ever from the audio format. I mean, either the value translates and they're as good as the graphic novel, or they lose a little bit in this translation. And also the stories are of uneven quality, and it tends to be the same. If I didn't love the story on paper, I also didn't love it on audio, so it's just stories that don't really appeal to me. The narration was excellent. I loved the intro, the musical theme they played in front of each episode. But I won't really spoil it. I don't want to spoil it at all. All your favorite characters, like the Corinthian or Cain and Abel, or that little cat who dreams about being a tiger, all of them are there in the audiobook. If you like Sandman, I recommend it. I think I would give it 3.5 stars, which is disappointing because Neil Gaiman is one of my favorite authors, so I wish I could give it a higher rating, but I don't feel that it would be justified.
Gdzie jest zabaweczka? Szukaj.
The next book that I listened to as an audiobook was Sleepless Over You by Sydney Smith, and it is essentially just a gay reimagining of Sleepless in Seattle. Sleepless in Seattle is about a girl and a single dad, and he goes on the radio and tells his story. She kind of has a crush on him, then they meet. By the end of the book, sorry for spoiling Sleepless in Seattle. Sleepless Over You essentially has the exact same premise. It tells the story of a white gay man who earns his living as an owner of an Instagram famous pet, and a black gay veterinarian single dad who also goes on a podcast to tell his story, and the other one gets a crush on him. The story is essentially just the same, but worse than Sleepless in Seattle. It's of course not worse because of the representation, but inherently it's less original than the original. It's just a retelling, and it feels more contrived than the film because the film is shorter, so you don't get the awkwardness of two people falling in love while never meeting until the last minute. And here you do get that feeling. The book is like 5 hours long or something, and you start thinking at some point, why didn't they meet yet? Like, how come we're supposed to root for them as a couple if they haven't even met yet, you know? And
Next
book that I finished was Lady's Guide to Celestial Dynamics or something by Olivia Waite. And I didn't really like it either. I'd give it 2 stars out of 5. It's a historical lesbian romance, theoretically, but not really, no, actually. It is set in, I think, Victorian England, and at the beginning it does make a point of stating the difficulties that women face in that time, but throughout the book those obstacles become less and less relevant, and also they start being portrayed as something that can be just overcome with sheer force of will, and the resolution is straight up unbelievable. I don't really like it. The portrayal of the times really took me out of the story because I didn't believe it. I couldn't suspend my disbelief. By the way, look at this. And the story is categorized as a romance. However, It's the opposite of slow burn. They get together just like at the beginning, and then actually it's just an erotica set in a Victorian England, which is not really important apart from how many layers of clothing you have to tear from your partner before you get down to it. I don't know, it wasn't very special. The erotic aspect of it wasn't super sexy, which I guess is the whole point. It didn't appeal to me, but I'm not taking any points for the sex scenes. The fact that the plot wasn't really treated with any respect and given enough attention, it just all boils down to the fact that this book is just kind of below average when it comes to quality, even though the premise of a young female astronomer finding a mentor in a widowed countess who's very much into crafts such as embroidery, so like me, you know, I could see myself in that setting if the book was written better. I'm kind of just disappointed. I think I deducted 1 point from that. I was disappointed. I had very high hopes for that book. On this walk, I have finished another book, and it was called, like, I don't know, Pause or whatever. It was about a girl who was in a coma for 7 months, and then she wakes up. It turns out her husband cheated on her with her best friend, and a guy who was another victim in the accident in which she lost consciousness is becoming her friend. And I don't know, I also give this book... it's difficult for me to judge this book because the first half was very promising. The girl was very assertive. She really was able to stand her ground. And the guy was also nice, very supportive. The first half was even a bit sexy. But then they kind of start dating somewhat. And it goes like this. Hey baby, let's be roommates. Okay, I like you. We can actually be roommates. Roommates with benefits. And by the way, I'm going to go tattoo my client's titties. Speaking of titties, are we exclusive? Of course we're exclusive. I don't like to share. So, are we like together? We're roommates with benefits and also we're friends. Oh, okay then. By the way, I've arranged for you to eat dinner with my parents. Isn't it a bit too early? And also we're just like roommates with benefits. Why would I love you, baby. Why are you keeping yourself from me? You have trust issues. It's all your fault. So the guy essentially he just manipulates her into admitting and thinking that it's her who keeps herself from him, even though it was he who didn't want a relationship. And don't get me wrong, they are both flawed, but like the fact that they aren't dating is 100% his fault because he has issues with defining the relationship, and essentially it seems like he wants 100% of commitment on her side without any responsibility. I mean, it turns out, and we kind of know that it's not the case, but if I ever was treated like that by my date, I would be like, I would just nope the hell out of there. So maybe not 3, but 2 out of 5 stars. I wouldn't read it because it left me with like emotional blue balls, which are not even a thing. So
No, wchodzimy. Koniec? Chodźcie.
And I also want to mention that I finished 2 TV shows and both inspired me, and I will make videos on both of them. One was Shadow and Bone, which is based on a book series which I haven't read. Shadow and Bone is a prequel to Six of Crows. I've read Six of Crows, didn't like it. The TV series, however, was great, so I think I'll film a very short review video. But also, I've rewatched Yuri on Ice, so one of the, if not the only anime that I have watched in its entirety. It's 1 season, it's not too bad. And I have a very cool video essay idea for Yuri on Ice, and I think everybody will enjoy it, no matter if they are into sports, anime, or not. I hope so. If you like hanging out with me, you're going to like this video. I had very much galaxy brain vibes when I was thinking about it, so expect it this week or the next. And having said all of that, I'll just sign out of this video. If you like videos like this, consider subscribing. Let me know if any of those books maybe sound appealing to you, and leave a comment. You can also check out my other social media. I'm Everycraft on Reddit and Instagram. And yeah, see you later. Bye bye. I love this perspective. Look at this. The sky. I should film all my videos like that.